That's right, folks. It's another late night and time for another reach into the Just Giggle It Grab Bag. And tonight we're pulling out Brains Making a Sketch, number 56.
Brains. Brains.
Brains.
That's right, folks. It's season 4 of the Just Giggle It Grab Bag. Can you believe it, Dragon? We've already done 4 seasons of this, technically speaking.
Well, bear in mind we kind of switch up the numbers a lot of how long the seasons extend, but sure, yes,
You know
we're
what? It's my channel, Dragon. It's my channel, and as a channel, I produce shows, and shows have seasons. So therefore, season 1 was, of course, the long. We covered a lot in season 1, folks. That was 10 episodes, but 2 sketches a season. And
essentially
then
20 episodes roughly.
yeah. So season 1 was almost kind of like an animated series season, essentially.
Right.
And then season 2 was Watching You, which switched up the format.
Well, and also we covered the movie. We covered Erase Away.
Erase Away, of course, yes. So season 2 was basically Joshua Thomas passion projects outside of the Just Giggle It timeline.
San Antonio years of Joshua Thomas.
Season 3, of course, was the fan requests. And headed into season 4, Dragon, what are we doing for season 4 of the Just Giggle It Grab Bag?
Well, I kind of call it the I've kind of deemed it the dark and creepy theme season to kind of tie into kind of the upcoming kind of October Halloween kind of we got coming up there. So of course we're starting a little earlier in Halloween, but just kind of to kind of a dark and creepy theme. Things are usually have kind of like a spooky link, like zombies we have here, or some stuff we got coming down like sketches that of course Just Giggle. Bear in mind, Just Giggle is very much known for kind of taking things to the next level and kind of going dark with the comedy a lot of the time. So there's
a lot of psychological terror in the selections we have.
So there's a lot of basically again dark and creepy. I guess just kind of the best way of phrasing it. Like there's one thing we might do, which I have to run by Tiki here, which I'm not gonna confirm or deny here. Let's just say there's something that we might infuse in this because it's going to be topical in the coming month. We'll see how that goes. So I'm not going to say what it is, but the point is we got a number of good choices, and of course we got a good finale.
All right. So let's begin on Brains. Dragon, do you have any background or any credits on this one you want to go over?
Sure. So real quick, this is one of the things with Just Giggle that sometimes bugs me retroactively is that sometimes the credits below the video, because they don't do end credits, they do credits within the description. Sometimes they're lacking, and this is one of those cases where we're lacking some of our credits, like specifically like director and writer and such. But bear in mind, this is more of a pitch because this one is credited to concept by Joshua Thomas. And from what I know about this episode, and what actually Just Giggle kind of confirmed for me before we did this video, is that basically what happens in this video did happen in real life. Where this Piper Hinson did pitch this, and Joshua Thomas kind of basically does what happens to Piper in the video here, basically confronting her with the realities of this. And essentially, that's the concept of the video. Like, what if we realized this?
You know what's awesome about this?
What?
Essentially a pilot. It's essentially a pilot for Heightened.
It is, and that was confirmed by them as well. That absolutely, they actually saw this as like pre-heightened. I call it proto-heightened, but pre-heightened.
Proto-heightened. Yes. All right. So that's cool. It's like a little taste of Heightened.
It is. I mean, you get the seed is planted, the seed is cultivated, and then later kind of implanted. And of course, it starts to grow with Heightened down the line.
All right.
And also, this is before Harley Quinn, the Joker versus the real world, which.
Oh my God, folks! If you want to see let's keep it short, Dragon, because I feel like a lot of people are watching this show that already know about it. But folks, there's an awesome web series on Just Giggle It called Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the Real World. It is an interesting, unique take on the Joker and Harley Quinn characters, done with a lot of comedy, but also a lot of heart and a lot of kind of interesting, dark, subtextual themes explored as well. And it's just a really, really wild watch. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start on episode 1, watch all the way through to episode 5. And this is important, folks, because we think that episode 5 is the best episode of the bunch. And importantly, we need to get those views up, folks. We need to get episode 5's views up to 1 million episodes in order to get more. We've seen the storyboards. We've seen, well, not storyboards. We've seen the scripts We've seen the we've seen that they've been working on stuff. We've seen script pages. There's physical evidence. It's out there. All we need to do is get those views up to 1 million. And you can do it by simply watching episode 5 over and over and over and over and over again. Tell your friends, link it on social media, put it on your Instagram, do whatever the kids do these days. Get the word out. Episode 5 needs to get to 1 million views.
Now, folks,
do you hear me?
And folks, look, I'm well aware that to anyone who's been watching any of these videos or watching, the live streams for JustGiggleIt, they're bound to know that it's kind of like mental torture at this point of like, watch Harley Quinn and Joker episode 5. What's wrong with you? I get that, but here's what you seriously, folks. Though you're to the smart, discerning audience member, which I know you are, especially if you're watching this, and especially if you watch JustGiggleIt, because you appreciate the top tier level of comedy. If you do, and of course, if you're watching Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the real world, you have excellent taste. And folks, if you're doing that already, I'm telling you, the answer to all your problems, the answer to how do we get more episodes, and they're starting to film episode 6 right now, but soon it's going to be like film in a can, and the only way we're going to see it kind of out of that Joshua Thomas vault is if those views on episode 5 get up so they can kind of release it, and so we can see more and more come out from them. So, folks, you know what's going on here. Just watch it again, even though you've already watched. Just watch it again and again and again. It's the gift that keeps on giving, if you will. Okay, all that said, let's jump right into it.
All right, so we see a slow pan in a field of a zombie eating hot dogs coming out of a guy's head. But really,
you're right.
Brains.
No, I did not put that together. Those were hot dogs.
It looks like little mini weenie dogs.
I think it's like a meat-based product of some kind, but I think it might be like cocktail weenies or something. I think you might be right. I just didn't put it together. So the point is like eating a meat-like substance that is brains, and so of course, JustGiggleIt's production values on a budget. I think they did considerably well with this because they have a lot of really good pans with the camera here, and of course, we pan over to what looks like kind of a scene from The Walking Dead almost. We got kind of our victim here eating the brains. So following that, we cut from brains to we basically take my summation of what the comedy is here. This is gonna go by fast, folks. I'm bogging this down just a minute here. Basically, we take kind of a Sesame Street approach. But we take it all across the board here in terms of like we're going all over the place. It's not just like kind of like a kid theme here. It's like, what if we took like a Sesame Street approach to an SNL commercial? Essentially, that's kind of what this sketch is. There's like those fake SNL commercials, but it was like kind of like a Sesame Street. Like let's see what rhymes. So we go from brains to gains.
Gains as he's trying to lift weights.
Yes, and then of course we have kind of this hippie-looking girl with grains in her hand, just kind of flying all over this brains. And we have Piper Hinson stains. Then we have Sipka here. Sipka's running like a little jogging outfit. He's like, sprains. And we have old man Joshua Thomas saying canes.
I think he says pains.
I could have sworn it was because he had a cane. I mean, I could have sworn. Don't know. I know Pains makes more sense, but still, I could have sworn it was.
All right,
Pains.
it could be either one.
Pains. I want to go. Yes. Then we have Jesse, one of my favorites, Jess McBride here, going. I'm sorry, I just love the way he delivers this. He's like from under a sink, very casually. Brains gives a thumbs up. Man, I love that McBride. He's awesome. Then we have Katie Garland. Katie Garland here. We have probably the most suggestive out of all of them here. Basically, she's showing off some underwear here from a model, saying Hanes.
Hanes.
I gotta tell you, that Katie Garland, I don't know what it is. She's selling Hanes right there. I'll tell you that much. She knows how to sell her Hanes. Okay.
Tommy Wiseau should go into business together.
God. Well, when Tommy Wiseau's not doing his new Joker movie.
Oh God. Or did you hear that The Room is presumably getting a Broadway show?
Really?
I swear to God.
Anyway, let's not get off topic. That's something for another time. Anyway, so let's see. Then here we go. Now we pull the meta curtain back here, and here's like a peek behind the JGI curtain, if you will. Basically, this is the namesake of the video. So you're watching this video, and you see like the zombie thing. You see brains. Like, okay, it's gonna be like a Walking Dead sort of like a zombie parody of something. I'm making a sketch.
Honestly, Dragon, that's exactly what I thought, and that's exactly why we chose it as the opener to our like spooky season. But hey, joke's on us, I guess.
I mean, I knew it was a making of. I knew that much. I just thought it was gonna be a making of specifically that zombie thing. I wasn't quite 100% like how all over the place it was gonna go. But don't get me wrong, it's still fun.
It's still a lot of fun. It's just like, it doesn't exactly fit the spooky theme as much as I was wanting, but you get one good brains gag right at the start. So I guess
it's a build. It's like you're dipping your toe in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so we kind of have this meta again. Here's where the heighten of it all comes into play here. So we have the namesake of the video being shown to us here. Basically, it's Piper Hinson pitching. Again, Piper Hinson, she's always like the gem of Just Giggle. I mean, Poncio is the secret weapon of Just Giggle. Joshua Thomas is just kind of the I guess he's kind of the face man of Just Giggle. And then Piper Hinson is just kind of like she's the gem. She's like, like you need that little finish, you need that sparkle, you need that pizzazz. You got Piper Hinson at the ready. Piper Hinson, she's basically pitching the video. It's basically we're in the Just Giggle It writers room, if you will, a writers meeting, and she's basically okay. Then there's stains. Haynes, basically recapping what we've just seen. Then, of course, like a moment of pause goes by here. And Piper Hinson, she has this nervous giggle that cracks me up. So that's my idea. And she's pretty much... I'm sorry?
I just said, isn't it funny?
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. She's pretty much alone in the room with that. And we have this great sad pan across the room here. We're just seeing the lack of the crowd being wowed here. Pretty much all the people we just saw in the video, with the exception of Poncio, everybody we've seen in the video.
I just had a dream, and you were there, and you were there.
But not Poncio. He wasn't there.
And then Poncio's just off in the distance, like, Poncio!
Like a sad Poncio. Poncio! Oh, anyway, so we have I love the two that stuck out to me real quick during the sad pan across the unimpressed room here. McBride, he's kind of looking at Ponce here, saying, "How should I react, man?" He's just kind of looking at him like they're like, "Hey." Basically, McBride's looking for a reaction here, and then we have a Sipka here. Sipka has this polite smile, like, "Yeah, Piper, you're doing good. Yeah." It's just kind of like one of those.
I think Sipka really stood out to me.
Yeah, Sipka, he's the line guy. Like, he needed someone to bring home the line. Again, unless you go for the secret weapon, you need to bomb the crap out of a line. I mean that a good. I mean, you want to like blow people's minds with like a delivery. That's where you go to Ponce. If you want like consistently kind of Americana of comedy, you're going to Sipka. Sipka's going to have that. He's just going to have that winning delivery. He's the back and forth dialogue guy. That's where he lives. And we've seen that with videos like Jack is like Sipka and where he's at here. But again, we're going to get there with him. So then basically McBride. Now, essentially what happens here, what McBride says in this is what Joshua Thomas said in real life here, essentially. So that's it. Rhyming. So you want to make a sketch of words that rhyme with brains. That's it. And Sipka's like, yeah, rhyming's fun. Rhyming's funny, sweet, neat, feet. Okay, like you have that heart in there where he's just being supportive, but the same token, he's just like, I don't believe in this at all, but I get it.
We have the one guy. I'm sorry, Drag. I don't really have names on these guys because there's a lot of them in the room. But we have the one guy who's like, oh well, I could be a zombie. Brains.
Is very eager to be a zombie. So that's pretty much what they're gauging from the room there. Well, I mean, zombies, right? That's pretty much it. Like zombies and rhymes.
Like, but I just think it's funny. I don't know. That's kind of the Formiga-esque quality that Piper Hinson is giving out here. Just
now, this is just going to sound like we're just going to have Piper Hinson play every role here. But I mean, bear in mind, Jessica does a lot of parodies, so it's kind of a thing you have to kind of assume with a lot of these actors, on Jessica, that a lot of them could be kind of good parody fodder, and that they all could play various roles. Of course, we always do we always acknowledge kind of the Formiga-esque quality of Piper Hinson, which is wonderful. But also, I got to tell you, this I don't know, something about the cadence in the room. Plus, of course, Better Call Saul is really amazing this week. I could see her as a Kim Wexler parody. I really could. Seriously, I think she's got like should be all uptight and everything. Should be Kim Wexler. All right, let's see. Anyway, says in all seriousness, getting back to this. McBride then states the meta gag of, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. So this specifically is what Joshua Thomas said here, where he said, "Yeah, but that's so many setups, and for what?"
Mhm.
That's pretty much that. Actually, that's the genesis of it. It's the concept that basically Joshua Thomas like, let's turn this pitch meeting into a video. Essentially, that's where it all comes from. So let's see. So following that, of course, it's the meta gag of it all right there. Joshua Thomas and this other bearded gentleman whose name escapes you. I don't believe we've seen before. I'm pretty sure that's why. If so, he's bled into the background if we haven't seen him. All right, I know he hasn't. I went over the videos. I'm going to be kicking myself if I missed something, but I'm pretty sure we haven't specifically seen the other bearded gentleman in the room who's basically there's like a mini comedy story going on here. Where, like this bearded guy, he steals Joshua Thomas's thunder, but basically echoing exactly what he said in the room.
Mhm. Yeah, I noticed that, right?
Yeah, Piper, too many setups. And he says, yeah, too many setups. And Jeff gives him this look of like, hey, wait, I just said that. So it all falls on the secret weapon. I call it the Poncio.
Oh,
God. It's like the secret. It's like it's the A bomb. It's the P bomb, if you will. So Alex Ponce is wearing it. I overemphasize the Poncio. I overemphasize that because Ponce comes in here for the kill. Now, Tiki, do you remember what he says?
We're not making that, Piper.
Where the moment of pause goes by, and he's kind of fiddling with her hair. And what does he say?
But you're so pretty.
I think he just even shortens it too. It's like so pretty.
I think you're right.
Just goes over and says, "We're not making that, Piper. So pretty." It's like, oh my God, Poncio again. Tiki, here's the thing: if we had a nickel, if we had a view for every, if there was a view for Harley Quinn the Joker for every time Poncio killed it in a Just Giggle video with a line delivery like that, we would have seen Harley Quinn the Joker season 5 by now. We would have. If this was a just world, we'd have Harley Quinn the Joker season 5 right now. We can still see that, folks. It's not too late
because it ties into the brains of it all. Of course, one of the other great ones is, "You smell, Rick."
God. Anyway, so getting to the end here. So then, okay, so Piper Hinson, in response to this, just Ponce are going to bring in the house down right now. So this pause, again, like silence. They do a lot of silence here in a good way. She shrugs her shoulder, like throws her hands up. We're making it, guys. And then she winks the camera like it was a 70s. Basically, it's very Bewitched. It feels very Bewitched to me.
Yeah.
I'm aware it's more 60s than 70s, but my point is...
And then the whole thing just kind of gets turned around like, okay, it's now in a bizarre time loop.
Yep. So, by the way,
we're going to see the pitch, and then we're going to see the outcome of the pitch, and then they're going to make the pitch, which we're going to see, and then we're going to see how they pitch it, and then we're going to see the actual pitch, and so on and so forth, ad infinity.
Which is great. Now, I got to tell you, this, tell me did you get somewhat of a Muppet backstage vibe with Just Giggle with all this here, like seeing kind of the behind the scenes? And again, this is very much kind of a heightened thing we would see later on, just kind of the heightened version of the Just Giggle staff here. But what we have here is, I feel like these guys, they're kind of wacky and funny off screen too. Like the comedy is mined from somewhere and it is kind of drawing from these people's lives, and it feels kind of like, honestly, I think it works for both Muppets. More accurately for the Muppets in recent years. I think it's more kind of tied in. It's more like similar to that. Yeah, like the show, the Muppets.
Man, that show was canceled too soon.
But doesn't this feel a little bit like that?
Yeah, it does. It does a little bit.
There's a little bit like that. I mean, collectively, just for the simplicity, you could say it's kind of like, the backstage of the Muppets, but, a little toned down. But anyway, that's my point. And I really would love to see this revisit, getting the kind of final thoughts before we do like a little subscriber tag here with what happens in a second. I just want to say, I would... Joshua Thomas mentioned that there's at some point, I presume after we get Harley Quinn the Joker versus the Real World up and running again, I presume. At some point, there's supposed to be this behind-the-scenes documentary about Harley Quinn the Joker versus the Real World, and there's a really good making-of story Joshua Thomas teased a while back, that everyone was gathered around in a situation very much like what we saw here, and they were all poo-pooing Harley Quinn the Joker. No one wanted to make it. They all thought it was a bad idea. At least many people were thinking it would never work. Or that maybe if not, it would. The point is, there's a story there, and we don't know all the details.
You fool! This will never work.
Pretty much. So there's a story there about like there was some doubt and like maybe just be like the thing we feared it was going to be like a little okay like rent Joker and Harley renting an apartment, that'll be it. And so I wonder if maybe they could mine a concept like this again through Heightened or something, or again, it's like good biopic fodder too. To one of these days and make that Just Giggle It biopic. There's a whole we do like an offshoot like the just of the Harley Quinn and Joker side of things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Anyway, that's more it's silliness. But then we have a little subscriber tag with Danny McBride here. Just sorry, I've got not Danny. Sorry, my bad. I wrote down McBride in my notes here. I forgot the J and it's Jesse McBride. My apologies, Jesse McBride out there. So we have McBride here. He's just a hell happy-go-lucky with his endorsement of just go hey subscribe for more, as his thoughts are being devoured. And his thoughts are watch more Harley Quinn the Joker for some real world episode 5.
All right.
And yeah, that's it. So what'd you think?
Honestly, Dragon, it kind of it subverted my expectations, but in a good way, I guess. I wasn't expecting this to be a Haydn pilot by any means, so I guess maybe you had the upper hand on me kind of going into it with that backstory in mind. But it was really good though. It was really good. I think the execution of it was on point. I thought Piper Hinson was adorable and charming, and like I love the whole the runner of like, but I don't know, I just think it's funny. And it's like you said, it's kind of dabbling our toe in the water of the spookiness to come.
Yeah, because believe me, folks, things are going to get haunting as we kind of go through this here. So you gotta buckle up for that. So final thoughts for me, very simply. Again, pretty much what I said earlier. It's kind of a fun proto-Heightened. It's a simple exercise in kind of a comedy behind the scenes. There is in analyzing the comedy, which we like to do here with the grab bag. You do see mockumentaries and you see behind the scenes stuff here, and this is kind of that. But again, it's kind of dabbling with kind of that heightened reality a little bit. Again, they're not quite 100% where they're going with it, like they will be later on. You got to remember, this is also. I mean, it was uploaded before the first Harley Quinn and the Joker, so again, I'm not trying to correlate everything with Harley Quinn and the Joker. I'm just trying to just kind of put the name out there a little bit here and there. But my point is that this is before they had kind of that series going, and I wonder. And sometimes they air them like just they'll have a backlog of older videos, and I think this is. I don't know how recent this was. Is my point. I don't know how recent this was compared to like post Harley Quinn the Joker or like how far back it was, like how early this was. But to make a video like this, you have to be comfortable where you are. You have to be comfortable, and there's basically they've been doing this again. This is it's numbered the 56th sketch. Now that implies that they've been doing this for at least 55 other times, and that implies some comfortability. Like we're comfortable with ourselves enough that we're going to. We're going to dabble in like a little kind of like holding the mirror up to ourselves a little bit there. And that's pretty big. That's pretty much, you could be very self-indulgent with that. And I think they walked the proper line with that. So I think this was short, successful, and sweet in a way. I thought this was, didn't like the world on fire, but bear in mind, I think the performances are what kind of really kind of bring this out. Because that's the point. There's not a lot there, but the comedy's coming from why there's not a lot there. And I think it's hilarious.
Exactly.
All right. So, in the meantime, folks, check out, again, Just Giggle has some upcoming projects, such as we should talk about the Ear Time podcast. So here's something interesting. So Joshua Thomas and a friend of his named Austin, he and his co-host, they've been doing a podcast on, I believe on SoundCloud. They've been doing a podcast called Ear Time, which, of course, is basically talking about LA life, acting, pretty much kind of the background of shows like Harley Quinn the Joker that we've become used to, just kind of like basically the building blocks of what gets us to Just Giggle as a channel and everything, like basically the actor's life and kind of the modern goings on and like kind of what motivates the comedy and such.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been doing that podcast, and I think what they're trying to do, because they tested this out recently, they did a live stream of that recording. That recording, essentially, what they're going to try to do is strip out the live comments, and they'll post that eventually with the rest of the audio, the usual audio that they do on that. And the reason I really emphasize Ear Time is because Ear Time, the podcast, is also having an offshoot on Just Giggle that they're working on right now called Ear Time Stories, which is kind of a they're basically bringing radio back with kind of an adventure in your mind's eye, essentially. Which sounds very interesting. And again, all of this kind of stemming from the Eartime podcast, which you should check out. And again, they got something really fun coming from that soon with Eartime stories, just kind of like some radio kind of for the mind.
Cool.
All right, and that about I guess that about does it. So I guess that does it for now until the next reach into the Just Giggle It Grab Bag.
It's so funny. Don't you guys just think it's so funny?